as a candidate who can't handle scrutiny, pointing to past interviews, including this from 2021, about failing to witness the southern border crisis firsthand.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
Republicans seem to want voters to hold Harris to the standard of a traditional politician, a norm Trump blew through long ago. In the past 24 hours alone, he's posted vulgar misogynistic attacks against Harris online, while his staff defended campaigning in a military cemetery, possibly breaking the law.
He sees himself as an orange wrecking ball, and he thinks the way to win this election is to double and triple down on his base.
And Katie, Trump is working to bring attention back to his campaign.
Yeah, during his rally, Trump announced he wants the costs of IVF treatments covered by either the government or insurance providers. He didn't offer any specifics, though, and that could be overshadowed by a new incendiary, untrue.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for sitting down with me and bringing the bus. The bus tour is well underway here in Georgia. You have less time to make your case to voters than any candidate in modern American history. The voters are really eager to hear what your plans are. If you are elected, what would you do on day one in the White House?
Well, there are a number of things. I will tell you, first and foremost, one of my highest priorities is to do what we can to support and strengthen the middle class. When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people, I think that people are ready for a new way forward, in a way that generations of Americans have been fueled by hope and by optimism. I think, sadly, in the last decade, we have had in the former president someone who has really been pushing an agenda and in an environment that is about diminishing the character and the strength of who we are as Americans, really dividing our nation, and I think people are ready to turn the page on that.
So what would you do day one?
Day one, it's going to be about, one, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy. I've already laid out a number of proposals in that regard, which include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families, for example, extending the child tax credit to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life, to help them buy a car seat, to help them buy baby clothes, a crib. There's the work that we're going to do that is about investing in the American family around affordable housing, a big issue in our country right now. So there are a number of things on day one.
What about you?
Well, I'm excited about this agenda, too. As I said, the idea of inspiring America to what can be. And I think many of these things that the Vice President's proposing are things that we share in values. And the child tax credit is one we know that reduces childhood poverty by 1/3. We did it in Minnesota. To have a federal partner in this, unbelievable, I think, in the impact that we can make.
You talked about, you call it the opportunity economy. You are well aware that right now many Americans are struggling. There's a crisis of affordability. One of your campaign themes is we're not going back. But I wonder what you say to voters who do want to go back when it comes to the economy specifically, because their groceries were less expensive, housing was more affordable when Donald Trump was president.
Well, let's start with the fact that when Joe Biden and I came in office, during the height of a pandemic, we saw over 10 million jobs were lost. People, I mean, literally, we were all tracking the numbers. Hundreds of people a day were dying because of COVID. The economy had crashed. In large part, all of that because of mismanagement by Donald Trump of that crisis. When we came in, our highest priority was to do what we could to rescue America. And today, we know that we have inflation at under 3%. A lot of our policies have led to the reality that America recovered faster than any wealthy nation around the world. But you are right. Prices, in particular for groceries, are still too high. The American people know it, I know it. which is why my agenda includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries. For example, dealing with an issue like price gouging, what we need to do to extend the child tax credit to help young families be able to take care of their children in their most formative years, what we need to do to bring down the cost of housing. My proposal includes what would be a tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers, so they can just have enough to put a down payment on a home, which is part of the American dream and their aspiration, but do it in a way that allows them to actually get on the path to achieving that goal and that dream.
So you have been vice president for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
The steps that you're talking about now, why haven't you done them already?
Well, first of all, we had to recover as an economy, and we have done that. I'm very proud of the work that we have done that has brought inflation down to less than 3%. The work that we have done to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. Donald Trump said he was going to do a number of things, including allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Never happened. We did it. So now, as I travel in the state of Georgia and around our country, the number of seniors that have benefited. I was in Nevada recently, a grandmother who showed me her receipts. And before we capped the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 a month, she was paying hundreds of dollars, up to thousands of dollars a month for her insulin. She's not doing that anymore.
You maintain Bidenomics is a success.
I maintain that when we do the work of bringing down prescription medication for the American people, including capping the cost of the annual cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000, when we do what we did in the first year of being in office to extend the child tax credit so that we cut child poverty in America by over 50%, when we do what we have done to invest in the American people and bringing manufacturing back to the United States so that we created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, bringing business back to America, what we have done to improve the supply chain so we're not relying on foreign governments to supply American families with their basic needs, I'll say that that's good work. There's more to do, but that's good work.
I want to get some clarity on where you stand on some key policy issues. Energy is a big one. When you were in Congress, you supported the Green New Deal. And in 2019, you said, quote, "There is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking." Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Do you still want to ban fracking?
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020, that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking.
In 2019, I believe, at a town hall, you said you were asked, would you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking on your first day in office? And you said, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So it changed in that campaign?
In 2020, I made very clear where I stand. We are in 2024, and I've not changed that position, nor will I going forward. I kept my word, and I will keep my word.
What made you change that position at the time?
Well, let's be clear. My values have not changed. I believe it is very important that we take seriously what we must do to guard against what is a clear crisis in terms of the climate. And to do that, we can do what we have accomplished thus far. The Inflation Reduction Act, what we have done to invest, by my calculation, over probably $1 trillion over the next 10 years, investing in a clean energy economy. What we've already done, creating over 300,000 new clean energy jobs. That tells me, from my experience as vice president, we can do it without banning fracking. In fact, Dana, I cast the tie-breaking vote that actually increased leases for fracking as vice president. So I'm very clear about where I stand.
And was there some policy or scientific data that you saw that you said, oh, okay, I get it now?
What I have seen is that we can grow and we can increase a thriving clean energy economy without banning fracking.
Okay. Another issue, big one, is immigration. As vice president, you were tasked with addressing the root causes of migration in southern countries and
Northern part of Central America.
The northern part of Central America that affects the southern border of the U.S. During the Biden-Harris administration, there were record numbers of illegal border crossings. Why did the Biden-Harris administration wait 3.5 years to implement sweeping asylum restrictions?
Well, first of all, the root causes work that I did as vice president, that I was asked to do by the president, has actually resulted in a number of benefits, including historic investments by American businesses in that region. The number of immigrants coming from that region has actually reduced since we began that work. But I will say this, that Joe Biden and I and our administration worked with members of the United States Congress on an immigration issue that is very significant to the American people and to our security, which is the border. And through bipartisan work, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, a bill was crafted, which we supported, which I support. And Donald Trump got word of this bill that would have contributed to securing our border, and because he believes that it would not have helped him politically, he told his folks in Congress, don't put it forward. He killed the bill. A border security bill that would have put 1,500 more agents on the border. And let me tell you something, the Border Patrol endorsed the bill. And I'm sure in large part because they knew they were working around the clock, and 1,500 more agents would help them. That bill would have allowed us to increase seizures of fentanyl. Ask any community in America that has been devastated by fentanyl what passing that bill would have done to address their concern and a pain that they've experienced.
So you would push that legislation again. I just want to
Not
ask
only
about
push it, I will make sure that it comes to my desk and I would sign it.
just one other question about something that you said in 2019 when you first ran. There was a debate. You raised your hand when asked whether or not the border should be decriminalized. Do you still believe that?
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally, and there should be consequence. And let's be clear, in this race, I'm the only person who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. I'm the only person in this race who actually served a border state as Attorney General to enforce our laws, and I would enforce our laws as president going forward. I recognize the problem.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here, in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example. That value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed. So that is the reality of it. And 4 years of being vice president, I'll tell you, one of the aspects to your point is traveling the country extensively. I mean, I'm here in Georgia. I think somebody told me 17 times since I've been vice president in Georgia alone. I believe it is important to build consensus, and it is important to find a common place of understanding of where we can actually solve problems.
On that note, you had a lot of Republican speakers at the convention. Will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Yes, I would.
Anyone
Yes,
in
I
mind?
would. No one in particular in mind. We got 68 days to go with this election, so I'm not putting the cart before the horse. But I would. I think it's really important. I have spent my career inviting diversity of opinion. I think it's important to have people at the table when some of the most important decisions are being made that have different views, different experiences. And I think it would be to the benefit of the American public to have a member of my cabinet who was a Republican.
That was just the start of our wide-ranging conversation, and we have some never-before-shared details about the phone call that changed everything between President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris.
I'm just curious, staying on President Biden, when he called you and said he was pulling out of the race, what was that like? And did he offer to endorse you right away, or did you ask for it?
It was a Sunday, so here, I'll give you a little too much information.
Go for it. There's no such thing, Madam Vice President.
And her running mate. I asked him about some of the controversies that have sprung up since Harris put him on the ticket.
Governor Walz, the country is just starting to get to know you. I want to ask you a question about how you've described your service in the National Guard. You said that you carried weapons in war, but you have never deployed actually in a war zone. A campaign official said that you misspoke. Did you?
Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, the debate.
And talk about some of these issues and stuff that's plaguing it. Right now, we're listening to Kamala Harris. I'm sorry, I know that I was on mute. I just got it on mute. She was pretty much been talking about the border deal, which it was a conservative border deal. The Republicans pretty much got everything that they wanted inside of this border deal. It was $80 billion. I remember back in February when this when the border deal was brought up, it was mentioned that they were saying like, oh man, whoa, the Democrats are giving us everything that we've could ever want from the border, where it was going to give more to the border crisis. And I'm glad that she touched on those key points. And then she also talked about the phone call that she got from Joe Biden, letting her know that she's going to be stepping down. But we're going to be getting ready to go back into it now. I'm just waiting real quick, and we'll be getting ready to bring that back up. Let's get that back up, production team, if we can get that back on the screen real quick. All right, there we go. Can we get that zoomed in? All right. And while we're waiting, the one thing that I want to hear is what is it that she plans to do. We're going to go in and we're going to listen in live now.
Tax credit.
On the trail, she talks about her experience, years in the courtroom as a district attorney and eventually California's attorney general. She wants to reframe the contest as the prosecutor versus the felon.
I know Donald Trump's type. I've been dealing with them my whole career.
The former president is turning to a well-defined playbook of personal attacks.
I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
And in just 12 days, the nominees will meet face-to-face for the first time.
She's not a good debater. She's not a smart person. She doesn't want to debate.
If you've got something to
As
say,
the person that doesn't want to debate.
I want to ask you about your opponent, Donald Trump.
Okay.
I was a little bit surprised. People might be surprised to hear that you have never interacted with him, met him face to face. That's going to change soon. But what I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
Any?
Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Let's talk about some foreign policy issues that would be on your plate if you become commander-in-chief. President Biden has tried unsuccessfully to end the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. He's been doing it for months and months, along with you. Would you do anything differently? For example, would you withhold some U.S. weapons shipments to Israel? That's what a lot of people on the progressive left want you to do.
Let me be very clear. I am unequivocal and unwavering in my commitment to Israel's defense and its ability to defend itself. And that's not going to change. But let's take a step back. October 7, 1,200 people were massacred. Many young people who were simply attending a music festival. Women were horribly raped. As I said then, I say today, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. And we have got to get a deal done. We were in Doha. We have to get a deal done. This war must end.
In the meantime,
and we must get a deal that is about getting the hostages out. I've met with the families of the American hostages. Let's get the hostages out. Let's get the ceasefire done.
But no change in policy in terms of arms and so forth.
No, we have to get a deal done. Dana, we have to get a deal done. When you look at the significance of this to the families, to the people who are living in that region, a deal is not only the right thing to do to end this war, but will unlock so much of what must happen next. I remain committed since I've been on October 8 to what we must do to work toward a two-state solution, where Israel is secure and in equal measure, the Palestinians have security and self-determination and dignity.
Governor Walz, the country is just starting to get to know you. I want to ask you a question about how you've described your service in the National Guard. You said that you carried weapons in war, but you have never deployed actually in a war zone. A campaign official said that you misspoke. Did you?
Well, first of all, I'm incredibly proud. I've done 24 years of wearing the uniform of this country. Equally proud of my service in a public school classroom, whether it's Congress or the governor. My record speaks for itself, but I think people are coming to get to know me. I speak like they do. I speak candidly. I wear my emotions on my sleeves, and I speak especially passionately about our children being shot in schools and around guns. So I think people know me. They know who I am. They know where my heart is. And again, my record has been out there for over 40 years to speak for itself.
And the idea that you said that you were in war, did you misspeak as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar is not always correct. But again, if it's not this, it's an attack on my children for showing love for me, or it's an attack on my dog. I'm not going to do that. And the one thing I'll never do is I'll never demean another member's service in any way. I never have, and I never will.
One other question, because again, this is all new. This was not, however many days ago, this was not on either of your bingo cards, especially yours. You had to clarify that you had said that you and your wife used IVF, but it turned out you used a different kind of fertility in order to have children. And then when you ran for Congress in 2006, your campaign repeatedly made false statements about a 1995 arrest for drunk and reckless driving. What do you say to voters who aren't sure whether they can take you at your word?
Well, I've been very public. I think they can see my students come out, former folks I've served with, and they vouch for me. I certainly own my mistakes when I make them. The one thing I'll tell you is I wished in this country wouldn't have to do this. I spoke about our infertility issues because it's hell, and families know this. And I spoke about the treatments that were available to us that had those beautiful children there. That's quite a contrast in folks that are trying to take those rights away from us. And so I think people know who I am. They know that record. They've seen that. I've taught thousands of students. I've been out there. And I won't apologize for speaking passionately, whether it's guns in schools or protecting of reproductive rights. The contrast could not be clearer between what we're running against. The vice president's position on this has been clear. And I think most Americans get it if you've been through that. I don't think they're cutting hairs on IVF or IUI. I think what they're cutting hairs on is an abortion ban and the ability to be able to deny families the chance to have a beautiful child.
Up next, the moment that changed everything when Kamala Harris got a phone call from President Biden that he was dropping out of the race.
It was a Sunday, so here I'll give you a little too much information.
Go for it. There's no such thing, Madam Vice President.
My family was staying with us, and including my baby nieces.
Speaking of those baby nieces, the vice president also opens up about a viral picture from the convention that meant so much to so many. And Tim Walz talks about that convention moment with his son that brought many viewers to tears.
You were speaking, the camera caught him, so incredibly proud of you, so emotional, saying, "That's my dad."
Yeah, I don't know as a father I could have ever imagined that.
That's pretty much the second half of the interview right there. So we're just waiting to hear what are the other deep, in particular, issues that a lot of people feel that they have not been hearing as much from the two candidates as they're running right now. In which, from what I'm hearing right now, is pretty much like I know that earlier this week we were hearing how Trump was saying, "Dang, I want CNN to go really hard on her. I want them not to hold any punches while they were while they were doing the interview." But right now, I think that Dana Bash is actually pretty much painting a clear case, and I think that it's pretty much cut and dry. They're not saying anything too much. I see that, in any political campaign, it's going to be pretty much like they're going to always be buttoned up more than anything because they're really not going to give out too many details of what they're going to do and how they're going to get there. But I know that in the next half of this, it's going to be about Governor Walz and his introduction. So we're just going to be on standby until then. But as far as what we heard so far, I want to know from you, the viewers, how you feel about what's being said and what you feel like that hasn't been addressed from your particular side. Maybe it can be that you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, or whoever. The question is, where do you stand at on some of these issues of what's being that's being raised out here? Like, I want to hear more about what are they going to do to be able to get this economy moving, and what is it that they're going to be doing to help us out? Chosen One, you got anything you want to say to that from what you've heard so far?
No, but I know for all the fathers in the world, if you look at that clip, I would want my child to be that proud of me too. So I'm just saying.
You know, his son has special needs, and you know, I have a special needs brother. My brother, he has Down syndrome.
They genuine too,
and
boy.
he's nonverbal, in which Governor Walz's son is nonverbal. And I know he's very big and he's very protective of his son, in which we are very protective of our brother as well. And I mean, my little brother, he's very rambunctious. He likes to get into certain things and stuff, but you know, you know, sometimes, you know, he can't really say as much as he want to. We got Stephen Williams. He's saying that, let me zoom in here. See that? Okay. This is a softball interview. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Now, hey, like I told everybody already, hey, this is a judgment-free zone in which we feel that way, in which we have one of our members that's going to be coming on in a few minutes. He's very conservative. He's independent, but he's a conservative independent, and he sees views like we get in back and forth like this a lot, in which I think that it is kind of softballing it a little bit, because you know it's CNN, and you know this is Trump ultimate fake news network. But I think that we're getting ready to see some motion back over here, and I guess we're going to get ready to go back live, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it on the other side. Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Let's see, but I'm just going to go ahead on and wait until they finish talking and everything, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring sound in. Production team, I hope you guys are on top of this, so get ready to move the screens and get it ready, so that way we'll be ready to go right into it. All right. And I guess they're saying that we are just a few seconds away. And here we go.
Vice President Harris, you were a very staunch defender of President Biden's capacity to serve another 4 years. Right after the debate, you insisted that President Biden is extraordinarily strong. Given where we are now, do you have any regrets about what you told the American people?
No, not at all. Not at all. I have served with President Biden for almost 4 years now, and I'll tell you, it's one of the greatest honors of my career, truly. He cares so deeply about the American people. He is so smart and loyal to the American people. And I have spent hours upon hours with him, be it in the Oval Office or the Situation Room. He has the intelligence, the commitment, and the judgment and disposition that I think the American people rightly deserve in their president. By contrast, the former president has none of that. And so, one, I am so proud to have served as vice president to Joe Biden. And two, I am so proud to be running with Tim Walz for president of the United States and to bring America what I believe the American people deserve, which is a new way forward, and turn the page on the last decade of what I believe has been contrary to where the spirit of our country really lies.
But the last decade, of course, the last 3.5 years has been part of your administration.
I'm talking about an era that started about a decade ago, where there is some suggestion, warped I believe it to be, that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, instead of where I believe most Americans are, which is to believe that the true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. That's what's at stake as much as any other detail that we could discuss in this election.
Because we haven't had a chance to talk, I'm just curious, staying on President Biden, when he called you and said he was pulling out of the race, what was that like? And did he offer to endorse you right away, or did you ask for it?
It was a Sunday, so here, I'll give you a little too much information.
Go for it. There's no such thing, Madam Vice President.
My family was staying with us, and including my baby nieces. And we had just had pancakes and, Auntie, can I have more bacon? Yes, I'll make you more bacon. And then we were sitting down to do a puzzle. And the phone rang, and it was Joe Biden. And he told me what he had decided to do. And I asked him, "Are you sure?" And he said yes. And that's how I learned about it.
And what about the endorsement? Did you ask for it?
He was very clear that he was going to support me.
So when he called to tell you, he said, "I'm pulling out of the race and I'm going to support you."
Well, my first thought was not about me, to be honest with you. My first thought was about him, to be honest. I think history is going to show a number of things about Joe Biden's presidency. I think history is going to show that in so many ways it was transformative, be it on what we have accomplished around finally investing in America's infrastructure, investing in new economies, in new industries, what we have done to bring our allies back together and have confidence in who we are as America and grow that alliance, what we have done to stand true to our principles, including one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I think history is going to show not only has Joe Biden led an administration that has achieved those extraordinary successes, but the character of the man is one that he has been in his life and career, including as a president, quite selfless and puts the American people first.
A passionate defense of the man who chose her to be his running mate 4 years ago. 4 years later, Harris made a choice of her own. And with Governor Walz's rise to national prominence, a star was born at the convention, Gus Walz. We'll hear about that moment between father and son, and the woman who could make history in the Oval Office on this iconic photo.
Madam Vice President, the photograph that has gone viral. You were speaking, one of your grandnieces that you were just talking about was watching you accept the nomination. You didn't explicitly talk about gender or race in your speech, but it obviously means a lot to a lot of people, and that viral picture really says it. What does it mean to you?
So now with the second half of that, so what's your thoughts on it? Unmute your mic.
Man, I don't think they're giving the people, what they're asking for, but I think they're doing what they're supposed to do. Like what they're doing, they're showing character. They're showing what leadership really is. What I asked America to see. They mostly pointing out characteristics of a leader, and inspiration. The inspiration from the son to the father. It's nothing negative in it. They're just choosing to stay positive. I think everybody's holding tight for the debate if the debate is still going on. So if you guys are looking for them to, just let loose, you're going to have to wait a little longer. You know what I mean? So they're going to continue to do this, and, we just have to pick up what the message really is. And I see the message.
I 100% agree with you on that. The question is what is the message of what more? Because right now, I think 90% of America has pretty much, some people probably, 90% of America has made up their mind already of who they're going to be voting for this fall. And the other 10%, no, the other five, I can break it down into the 10%. 5% are leaning one way, and the other 5% are leaning another way. But the thing is, when people go in and they go and vote, you don't vote on policies. People go in to vote with their heart.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I know 90% of the time, sometimes I have candidates that are running, I'm looking at it like, dang, what is this? Okay, both of them aren't good. Let's just say that. Let's put that out there. Put it out front and center. When they look at it, say, okay, both candidates aren't good enough. Okay, my question is, what is it going to take for you, for individuals to realize, like, okay, you're asking for Kamala Harris to jump through a million and umpteen hoops and answer all these questions about policy and how you're going to do this and how you're going to do that. Not one time did I even see them tell the guy over there to the right, former President Trump. I haven't seen him come out with one policy detail. But today I sat down and I listened to him. I was about to bring it live to everybody this earlier today. As we're waiting, I know that some people are waiting for the interview. The interview is going to be coming back up. It's on a commercial break, so we'll be going back to that live in a second. But just to finish my point, that former President Trump, I want to know how many times has he went out there and he's actually did a full speech that talked about policy, about what he was going to do. No, but the only thing that we've all been paying attention to is just pretty much of what we've been hearing up to this point, as far as like, oh, just reelect me, and then I'm just going to make all this stuff go away, and everything. The sun is going to be so much brighter once I'm back in office, and everything is going back to what I want it to be, like how it was when I was president. Because he's like, keep painting this picture like, only I can fix these problems. America has so many deep problems. Only I can fix it. All right, we're going to go back in live, and we'll come back and we'll finish up this discussion on the other side.
This word.
These guys are just weird.
Known as a folksy father of two from rural America, now a running mate who is not holding back.
Listen to the guy. He's talking about Hannibal Lecter and shocking sharks and just whatever crazy thing pops into his mind.
And finding his own rhythm with his new boss.
What'd you order? Brisket and greens and mac and cheese.
What about you?
I had the brisket and coleslaw on this.
And what about the spice situation, the Tabasco? What's happening with that?
I'm going to let him speak for himself.
The vice president's growing peppers at her residence, so she's trying to bring me along on this. Minnesotans.
It's okay.
I'm getting there.
It's all good. You just do you.
I just have to ask you both about two standout moments, aside, of course, from the addresses that you both gave, but standout moments that were perhaps unexpected during the convention. You mentioned one of them, Governor. A moment that you shared, that the world shared with your son, Gus. You were speaking, the camera caught him, so incredibly proud of you, so emotional, saying, "That's my dad."
Yeah, I don't know, as a father, I could have ever imagined that. grateful for so many reasons to be on this ticket, but that moment, to understand what was really important, to have my son feel a sense of pride in me, that I was trying to do the right thing. And it was, you try and protect your kids, it brings notoriety and things, but it was just such a visceral, emotional moment that I'm grateful I got to experience it, and I'm so proud of him. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of Hope. I'm proud of Gwen. She's a wonderful mother, and these are great kids. And I think the one thing is, talking about the era we're in, is our politics can be better. It can be different. We can show some of these things, and we can have families involved in this. And I hope that I hope people felt that out there, and I hope they hug their kids a little tighter, because you just never know, and life can be kind of hard.
And last question, Madam Vice President, the photograph that has gone viral. You were speaking, one of your grandnieces that you were just talking about was watching you accept the nomination. You didn't explicitly talk about gender or race in your speech, but it obviously means a lot to a lot of people, and that viral picture really says it. What does it mean to you?
I am running because I believe that I am the best person to do this job at this moment. For all Americans, regardless of race and gender. But I did see that photograph, and I was deeply touched by it. And you're right, it's the back of her head, her two little braids, and then I'm in the front of the photograph, obviously speaking. And it's very humbling. It's very humbling in many ways.
Did she talk to you about it afterwards?
Oh, she had a lot to talk about. She had a lot. She listened to everything, and she listens to everything.
She gave you your hot takes?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you.
This was Vice President Harris's first real unscripted setting where voters could see and hear her explain some of her policy positions now and how they differ from before she became vice president, and why. And this was the first we heard those details about an extraordinary phone call from a president dropping out of the race and endorsing his vice president, something that will certainly go down in history. CNN has also invited both President Trump and Senator J.D. Vance to sit down with us. We hope to bring that interview to you as well. We have plenty of CNN special coverage ahead. I want to go to my friend and colleague, Abby Phillip, who is standing by with some of the best political minds in the business. Abby?
We have them all here. Dana, you've given
And there you have it. We know that that it went a little longer than what was expected, but we pretty much got what we wanted to hear from this first interview, in which, if you think about it, first interviews aren't going to really give you a full intel about what it is that you want to hear from the candidates at this point. But Governor Walz pretty much just said that he's very proud of his son and the kid and his kids, of what they're becoming. And like he said, we have to hold our kids just a little closer sometimes because of what they pretty much have to deal with in this world, with bullying and all that stuff. But as far as from what I've heard, I want to know what you guys think. What is it that you want to see? What question did you want to hear Kamala Harris say? Or was it anything that moved the needle for you as an individual? I'm talking to you right now, viewers that are tuning in on Twitch and also on Facebook. And so that way we could take some of your comments and just take some of you guys' feedback on what was it that you've heard from tonight's tonight's interview. Chosen one, got anything you want to say? What was it that was it anything that pretty much moved your needle back to Donald Trump, or was it anything that moved your needle away from Kamala Harris? That's the question. That's the $1 million question.
No, I'm feeling like Pretty Ricky. Can I get a little closer? That's how I feel. I'm feeling like Pretty Ricky. Can I get a little closer? That's inspirational, man. Look at that little girl. That little girl is inspired. Remember I said weeks ago that little girls can now go to school, and when your teacher asks you what you want to be, they can actually say, I want to be the president of the United States. And it can actually happen. Come true. That little girl was inspired. That ain't trained. Nobody telling you to look at somebody like that. You can't make an autistic child look at their dad and cry like that and say, that's my dad. That was genuine, man. This is not staged or script. People, these people are preaching family, love, faith, hope, charity. Y'all better pay attention.
Yeah, this is the picture that you were just talking about. Let me pull the banners down.
Look at that. Man, your heart gotta be numb if that don't touch you.
Yeah, and she's up there looking at her aunt, and she's you know, and that's the thing, you know,
She's
most
inspired.
yes, most definitely. And then the same way with Governor Walz' son, we've seen that a million or umpteen times, but you know, just to think about it, like they said, she didn't mention race not once inside of this inside of the inside of her speech during the the DNC last week during her speech. And they're right. We didn't hear too much about race. She only just pretty much talked about her adoptive family, her family that she grew up with in the neighborhood. Like they were all family. Nobody didn't look at them as black, white, Hispanic, Latino. Nobody never looked at them that way. She said when she was growing up, she had an opportunity to be able to understand exactly what it was or what their like her upbringing. She just wanted to talk about her upbringing and what made her into a better individual as she was growing up. And I don't think that when we're in elected office, I don't think that when you're in an elected position, you shouldn't talk about race. You should always talk about what is it that you're going to do for the country. That's a whole. It's everybody, not just black and white. No, I'm the president for all the people, not just a few,
Yes,
but
sir.
all.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's what I think that we keep that they keep missing this point. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have to keep in mind. See, that's what's wrong with certain race of people. They feel like when people get in a position of power that they supposed to directly just uh move a mountain just to cater to them. That can't happen.
Right.
How many of y'all done been a boss on a job and you don't work with one of your friends or your cousin and you had to treat them the same as you had to treat the people you didn't know?
Right.
Y'all got to understand, stop letting people use your ignorance, the ignorance that they say we have against us, because it's fooling us. What I see tonight, man, I just see some good people. Their character stands out. That stuff don't lie, man. What I see is concrete evidence that these people are who they say they are.
Right.
I'm sorry. I ain't a fool. I ain't foolish enough to go against what I'm seeing.
Seeing is believing.
Man, seeing. But let's take it further. Even earlier weeks ago, we felt it. But this, to me, this was a good first interview because you're letting the people that you are going to potentially be leading know who you really are. What type of person you really are. I mean, I would want to know because I don't know who 45 is. Like I said, I was a kid. All I knew is he was a money sign to us. So we accepted him. He ain't had to do nothing for us. We've been promoting this man since we was kids and he ain't did one thing for us.
But the first thing that they want to do is they want to class everything. Okay.
But
Let me read off. Let's read off what Donald Trump has did.
what I'm saying
Go
is,
ahead.
bro,
I'm listening.
like we gotta hold everybody accountable. I have nothing against Trump. Like I said, we looked up to him as a kid. Ain't nothing gonna change. You know, it's just the people. It's a difference of character, man. That's all I'm saying. It's a difference of character, and I'm going
Right.
with the good character. In every cartoon, you got a good guy and you got a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going
And
with
so,
Batman.
so who is the good and the bad? That's the question.
I mean, it's obvious. I can't pick your choice for you. You know what I mean? Your heart got to pick your choice in this situation, and I'm gonna know where your heart at by the decision that you make. The world gonna know where your heart at by the decision that you make. No, don't go into the voting poll and sneak and hide and vote for who you're gonna vote for. If you're gonna vote for that side, let it be known. Stand on business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking. I don't care. I don't care who you vote for. If you're gonna vote for the bad guy, stand on business about it. Don't hide behind it.
This is the one thing that I've been paying attention to is that I'll take this for an example. If January 6th did not change your mind about this election, then something is vaguely wrong with you.
Speak the truth,
I want to
man.
read this real quick. I don't think I'll ever get over Clarence Thomas's ruling on a case related to January 6th that his wife was an active participant in the attempted coup on or ruling on a case related to regulations and wealth tax, knowing he took gifts from billionaires. He is a disgrace to this country. When I look at these things, like they say, people will show you who they are by the fruits of their labor.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, if he's up here using billionaires to continue to offset his thought process when he's ruling on certain particular cases, this is the issue that we're falling into. Such as another issue where we looked at here in not here but in Texas. They are right now knocking off over 1 million people off of the voting rolls. They actually went to this old lady. She's 80 years old, 87 years old. She's a volunteer, and she's out trying to register young people to get out to vote. She's 87. They did a raid on mostly Democratic people that were out doing voter registration drives in Texas. This lady got pulled out of her house at 5 o'clock in the morning in a nightgown, humiliated. Thought that she was lying about something. I'm going to read this real quick. The official says the office. Okay, this is from Cobb ABC out of I think this is out of Dallas. Abbott said that the Secretary of State and the county voter registrations have an original legal requirement to review voter rolls, remove ineligible voters, and refer to any polling, no potential illegal voting to the Attorney General's office and the local authorities. The office said Abbott signed SB 1 into law 3 years ago, and the state removed over 1 million people from off of the voter rolls, including over 6,500 non-citizens, 470,000 dead people, 6,000 people who have a felony conviction, 463,000 people, 63,000 voters on the suspension list, 134,000 voters who have moved away from Texas, 65,000 voters who failed to respond to a notice of examination, and over 19,000 voters who requested to cancel their voter registration. 65,000 people were knocked off of the voting rolls that failed to respond to an examination letter by them sending a letter inside of the mail and saying, hey, we're just checking to see if that you're voting. They got kicked off of the rolls. And this law was passed 3 years ago. So you mean to tell me that you're going to sit up here and you're going to constantly keep on saying that you're for a clean and successful, a fair and balanced vote, but you're out here showing us a totally different side. Like you don't want all the votes to be counted. You want voting to stop. These are the games that they are playing nationwide. Look what happened in Georgia just a few days ago. People got knocked off of the voting rolls in Georgia. This is voter suppression at its highest, all because we don't have a Voting Rights Act in place. And they need to pass the John Lewis Civil Rights and Voting Rights Act. This is the issue. And then just the other day when I was talking to you guys, we had from the let me see what this group is called. It was called the I think it was one of the Republican groups that is actually filing a suit challenging the candidacy for Vice President Kamala Harris to run for office. They called it a resolution that's calling for the United States Constitution for eligibility to become president of the United States. Whereas the Constitution, the qualifications, let me read this and let me make sure that I got this read completely. Whereas the Constitution qualifications of a presidential eligibility, as written in Article 2, Section 1 of the paragraph of 5, states that no person except a natural born citizen shall be eligible, or a citizen of the United States at the time of adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible for the office of President of the United States. Whereas an originalist and strict constitutionalist understanding of the Constitution in Scalia-Thomas tradition. Scalia-Thomas tradition is the ones that release all these people that deface the seat of power of the United States. But these are the people that you are citing in case law to make it where Kamala Harris cannot run for president. This is just not a black and white issue. This is everything. Let me continue reading this. It says, as well as proceedings setting U.S. Supreme Court case below have found that a natural born citizen is defined as a person born on American soil of parents who both are citizens of the United States at the time of childbirth. The 14th Amendment did it away from all of this kookiness. But when once the Civil Rights Act was gutted and they went to start it, then all this continued gerrymandering when this same group went up to the Supreme Court and they got parts of the Voting Rights Act snatched. This is the day that we're living in. And then they also cited Dred Scott v. Stanford. If you don't know the Dred Scott v. Sanford ruling from 1857, that ruling pretty much disenfranchised all black people. Anybody that was of black or Native American heritage, they were not considered a man in the United States. And that is a travesty to anybody. Anybody that thinks that this is okay, it's wrong. They even went and they said, whereas, listen at this part. This Republican group also cited two people of Indian heritage that was running for president for the Republican side. Several state candidates and major political parties have ignored this fundamental presidential qualification, including candidates Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Kamala Harris, whose parents were not American citizens at the time of birth. Whereas ignoring the presidential qualification undermines the foundation of the constitutional legality for the governing and security of the United States by allowing unqualified candidates to run in primary states contests. This is ridiculous. So you mean to tell me that we're going to go all the way back to 1857 and all the way back to 1939, listen to me, audience, pre-Civil Rights Act, pre-Voting Rights Act. Let's think about that. Are you going to be continued to be sitting around and you're going to be called a 1/4 of a man? Chosen one?
No.
If this doesn't give you a reason not to get out to vote, this is what
this should be.
Everybody get your butt up and get to the damn.
This should be more than this should get every person out to vote, because it's a great disservice to all those slaves, all those people, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all these, I could keep going, but you get where I'm going with it. All these people that fought for these things. And y'all don't realize that this is what they're actually trying to take away. So if we don't get out and vote, if it don't mean nothing to you, think about all the sacrifice those great people did just for you to simply get up off your butt, drive less than 5 or 6 miles away, get in a line, go vote, which take less than 5 minutes, and drive 5.5 miles back home. These people lost their lives, put their lives on the line for you to be able to do this. And that act is trying to take all of that away. So if we allow that to happen, it would be a great disservice to all those trendsetters that some people look up to.
Like right now with Trump, with him talking about the project, like what everybody's talking about, Project 2025. Trump said that he doesn't know any of the people that were a part of Project 2025. Let's just look here. I got some proof here. I'm gonna read this off to you guys. Trump has approximately, let me get a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. He has approximately 31 people that are all co-authors of Project 2025 who all had roles in his transition. No, in his previous administration, he had the chief of staff of the Office of White House Personnel Management, White House Assistant Special Counsel, Assistant Secretary of Policy and Department of Labor, Deputy Associate Attorney General, Chief of Staff, FCC Commissioner, HUD Security, Associate Director of Presidential Performance. What are you talking about, Mr. President? You don't know none of these people? But they happen to just sit there behind down and just all what I said, was it 35 or 25 people? 25 people.
See what
That
they
sat
gonna
down and
realize
wrote this out. So we're supposed to be dumb?
See, what people need to realize is, you remember back in the days when they want you to get your hand on the book?
Right.
Because the book got knowledge in it, correct?
Yeah. They said
what they were trying to keep you from, correct?
Yeah.
Because if you get that book, you get knowledge. Knowledge give you power, correct?
Yes, sir.
Project 2025 is Trump policy. You can be a fool and not pick it up and read it. The reason why he's not telling you about his policy is because he got it in the book and he know y'all don't read.
Yep. Now I want to read this. So since you don't want to read Project 2025, let me just go ahead on and let me talk about a couple of stats from Project 2025. So I guess we're just pretty much just gonna go ahead on and just say, okay, we're gonna just say we're not gonna go ahead and do a 16-hour. No, we're gonna only do a 40-hour work, no, a 60-hour work month. And you're only gonna get paid only a couple of dollars because if you work overtime, we ain't paying your ass.
I just advise all people to go read don't just read, but get clarity, understanding. As our reading comprehension skills need to be kicking in when you're reading this, because you really need to know what it's saying. Not just reading this, skimming through it. You need to thoroughly read, this book and see how it's going to impact your life, your kids' life, they kids' life, and people before you life.
That's
And if
true.
you still agree, go for it.
I'm gonna show you some stuff that I ain't in agreement to. Okay, let me take for instance. Let's talk about baby formula. We got a lot of people that got some young kids out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say this. Project 2025 on page 425. It says that they will not have regulation for baby formula, baby foods, or what have you, and we won't be limiting any corporations from adding chemicals that are harmful to their children.
Say that again. Say
You
that
heard what I just said.
again.
Let me make sure I get this. Let me make sure I'm reading this verbatim. Make sure I get this correct. See page 425. I got the book.
Hey, look how deep that is. Say the page number again. So I'm trying to wake the people up.
Page 425 of Project 2025.
I'm trying to wake you up.
Okay, let's see here. Let me make sure I got this. I'm gonna make sure I post this inside of the.
Lord, touch us, heal us, deliver, and set us free, Lord. Oh my God. I can't make this up. I cannot make it up.
Let's see. Today in Atlanta, let's get some Atlanta news. Today, Kroger senior director for pricing admitted in court during the company's antitrust trial that Kroger raised prices on essentials like eggs, milk, well above inflation. Remember when the media said greedflation was a fringe theory? Remember they said that? It was a fringe theory. The media said it. Said, oh, it's not happening. It ain't true. Well, Kroger senior director said under oath that the company told them to raise prices on eggs, milk, and other essential items well above rate. But it's Biden's fault. No. These same corporations are in the back pockets of one Donald Trump and JD Vance. If you sit up here and you vote for these two individuals,
wow,
don't say anything about that you got some cancer that just popped up out of nowhere.
Wow.
They already told you they're not going to clean your water. What else do you want them to do? They're giving it to you in court.
Yeah, but you're not listening.
This is proven under
You're not
oath.
listening.
Who's lying? Where's the lies? I see no lies here. Okay, let me read this. Arkansas bans nearly all abortions, calling itself a pro-life state. It has the nation's highest mortality, maternal mortality rate, one of the highest infant mortality rates. It is one of two states that cut off Medicaid to mothers 60 days after giving birth. How is this pro-life? You mean to tell me that you're gonna cut off 60 days of a mother, an expecting mother, after she has her kids? You're gonna cut the 60 days off and you want her to get her ass back to work? No, we own you. That's what they're saying. We own you.
Yeah.
So if you don't come to work and you don't come and do what we need you to do, guess what? We're gonna cut these wages off. Let's see how you like that, huh?
Yes,
we're
sir.
gonna make it $10. We're gonna make all the money. We're gonna make you just
say, master.
Yes, sir, master. But I'm just saying, where's the pro-life at? Well, Tennessee has one of the highest maternal mortality rates and one of the highest infant mortality rates. That's sad. That's post-term. That's meaning that you can't get any abortion, but you having kids that are being stillborn birth. That's sad. Who wants to go through that? Go ahead, Rip.
It say the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Right.
The preamble. I'm just saying, we gonna stand on business, right? It say the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Right.
God give you a choice. Our Creator, He give us a choice. He don't force us to serve Him or to choose Him. He give you a choice to do whatever you choose to do.
Right.
So why should a man have that much more power than God to tell you what you should be able to do with your body when the man who bought you without a price, you were bought without a price, when the man who really owned you ain't even told you what to do with you. He ain't make you do what you're supposed to do with your body.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to run it into the ground, all he gonna do is keep sending people that encourage you to try to get you to come to him.
That's correct.
He give you free will, free choice. Y'all people are not looking at this in the way that people are looking at this. Yes, some people don't, some Christians don't agree, Muslims, people don't agree with some of, the whatever they don't agree with. You get what I'm saying? But what I'm trying to say is, we may not agree with every policy that a person have, and politicians, they all, let's just be real, they all, I ain't
Full
gonna
of
say the
S.
word,
I
tell
said full of
bills,
S.
tell stories. You get what I'm saying?
What's the old saying? What's the quote? Politics make strange bedfellows. That's the
Bro,
truth. That means they're all together.
Yep.
Now, let's say this. Okay, so we were listening to some of the policies of what Kamala Harris talked about this evening. Okay, I want to say this real quick. It's clear whose policies support working Americans and whose policies work for billionaires and huge corporations. Trump claims his pro-worker project 2025 will gut labor rights. That's source the Guardian magazine. Union leaders say Harris, not Trump, would benefit workers. Wall Street Journal. Those are the cited sources. So who's really corrupt here? He keeps calling Kamala Harris what he keep calling her, Comrade Harris? Communist Harris? What's communist? The only communist and only socialism I see in this country is socialism for the rich. They get everything while all of us have to work our asses off just to make sure that we making the money so that way they're able to get these enjoy these lavish tax cuts and live this lavish and full life. If you got $12 million, you're making $12 million a month. What are you hurting for? You're making $1 million a month. What are you hurting for? Why are you going to continue to keep on walking by somebody and you know that they need help and you know you got it and you can't give no mail? Why do you continue to keep on holding on to this money? What you gonna do with it? I'm all about all of us trying to make it. But when we get to a point where people want to start classing you and then they want to say, oh, you shouldn't get mad at rich people because they made a hard living. Trust and believe. People that have over $1 million, they did some shady shit to get that. I'm just going to be blunt. Anybody that got money did some shady stuff to get that cash. Some people make it without doing that. But it's a lot of people do some shady stuff to get that cash. And we know that. We see it all the time in Hollywood. You see it in the music industry. Who says that it's not happening in politics? But that's a whole nother conversation. So this is the last thing I wanted to add this. Starbucks' new CEO, Brian Nicole, will reportedly land a pay package of $113 million over 7,950 times the pay of the median Starbucks employee. Last year, Nicola ranked in over $22.4 million as CEO of Chipotle, over 13.5 times the pay of Chipotle employee. How come we never talk about CEO pay when we talk about raising prices? sir. But the CEOs can rake in all these boatloads of cash. Why you want to start cutting employees and you made all this money? You made 22. Bro, how you get a pay package? You got a pay package just to sign and work for the company of $113 million.
I mean,
You hungry?
in my brain, let me ask the people, or the people that's watching. I just want to know a people's opinion. After you get a certain amount of money, like reach a certain plateau with your money.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, what would drive you to be that greedy?
Bro, how can you even go to sleep?
I'm just saying, I'm getting it out the mud over here. So, you know, $500,000, $500,000, boy.
It'll change a lot of people's lives.
Come on,
Let's
man.
be clear.
These people are dealing with billions of dollars and don't have a heart in mind.
Right.
This is what I'm trying to tell y'all. It's people with $10 will give you their last $10.
You're right.
You got billionaires won't even. Oh my Lord, make it make sense.
I just don't. Gotta make it make sense. Hey, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Let's be clear. Kamala Harris isn't advocating and talking about raising for price control. She's advocating for federal laws to stop price gouging and make markets more competitive.
Say that again.
So let me say it one more time,
my brother.
Kamala Harris is not advocating for price controls. She's advocating for federal laws to stop price gouging and make markets competitive. Prices are controlled in America by big corporations that have gobbled and stole, raped, killed markets and they don't have to compete for nothing because they get everything.
Now I just want to say to America, that's part of her policy. If y'all want to know, he just mentioned something that she's fighting for to make your life better. If you don't went in the grocery store and you done said that milk is too high, that's what she's saying. She's fighting for that.
She fighting for the little man. I ain't hear Trump not one time. All he did was rolled out a Bedminster out there in New Jersey, where his ex-wife is out there in the back lawn, grown all up over, which is so.
She trying to make you be able to go in the grocery store and be happy about the price of milk.
Right.
Not distraught.
And it's sad. Look what Kroger just said. They said that they were told to raise the prices. They had to raise them because that's what the CEOs wanted. Okay. In 1989, the super rich held a $472 billion in unauthorized capital gains. In 2022, that figure was about $8.5 trillion. While these individuals can live off this wealth as if it were income, none of it is taxed. When I say our tax code is rigged for the rich, this is what I mean. So you mean to tell me that $472 billion in unrealized capital gains, meaning those are the funds that you collect as a wealthy individual, and you're being protected from those capital gain taxes. So therefore, you can go ahead and cheat on your taxes a little bit. You could be able to get back some of that money from Uncle Sam. Well, you don't have to make sure that the American people that are doing not so well at the bottom, where we're just going to go ahead on and just say, we're going to go ahead on and take this money from you. So we're going to go ahead on and we're going to, that figure is at 8.5 trillion now. So we want to go ahead and we want to call in some of that money and put it in our pockets because we don't have enough. We're creating jobs here. Leave us alone. We're creating jobs. We're creating jobs. Trickle down. Trickle down layoffs. Record layoffs, Amazon. Record layoffs, Target. Record layoffs, Walmart. Record layoffs, Walgreens. Record store closings, CVS. This is all you see in the headlines. What that mean? More Americans are being put out of work by conglomerates such as these. What they need to do, and like what I heard from Kamala Harris this evening, she said that she wants to create a small business. Small business. People that's raking in figures under I say, see, 400,000, that's still rich to me. You got to know. If it's anything under $250,000 and you say do a small business tax cut, oh, that'd be phenomenal. That would help a lot of small businesses because most of the small businesses that's in this country that are small mom and pop businesses that are employing people. And some of them can't even afford to even employ them because they're getting raped by these corporations jacking up the prices every week.
Yes, they are.
It's sad.
That's why I say it right now, it's really not no money. I mean, it's sad, man. People are running out of business, you know? And it's not the president that's in the chair fault.
Right. And 75% of industry, U.S. industries, fewer companies control more than 20, more of the businesses than 20 years ago. So that lets you know right there that they are suffocating the small business market. These are the giant corporations. They are suffocating small businesses everywhere, all over the country. Even Amazon does it all already. Like they want to make sure that they want to suffocate you and make sure that you can't sell or mail out anything. Everything do. One-stop shopping.
This is what they do. I mean, why not buy? I'm gonna buy all y'all out. I know you're doing. I'm gonna force you to have no business, to where you have to take the deal that I'm presenting to you. So I'm gonna buy you out. I'm gonna buy the whole East Coast out. Raise the prices on everything, cause I know I'm closing in 6 months.
Yep. Let's, for instance, let me talk about Mars. You know about the Mars candy bars? You know those Mars, those Three Musketeers, the candy bars that you like to eat when you was a kid. Mars Inc. is buying Kalanova, maker of Pop-Tarts. That's formerly of Kellogg. Pop-Tarts, Pringles, and Eggo for $36 billion. It's the largest merger of the year. The new snack conglomerate will be the largest, will be large enough to resist any push from supermarkets for lower prices. So technically, they'll be at an advantage where they can just say, "Hey, you don't tell us what we want you to pay for this. This is what you're going to buy this at, and you can't even negotiate this price.
Oh, you got to pay this, or you don't get the product.
You don't get the product." Now, when we listen to people always talking about Kamala Harris about how she's going to pay for it, how are you going to do this? Stop asking about how we'll pay for it. Restore the corporate tax. If Congress can get off their asses and restore the corporate tax rate, we won't have this problem. America, are you listening? If they restore the corporate tax rate, we would go all the way back to what it used to be in the early 1990s when we were at approximately 20%. Because right now, in 20 and let me see, this is how we'll pay for it. Let me look at this real quick. Sources from America Tax Fairness Analyst, the Bureau of Economic Analyst data shows the corporate rates by corporations have fallen for decades. Effective cumulative federal states and local corporate tax rate from 1950 to 2022. So when you look at the corporate tax rate, they're not paying anything
at all.
But we're getting taxed, and then you want to sit back and you want to talk about Trump and this god doggone these tariffs? Come on, bro. Tariffs are going to hurt the middle class. When you hear them, oh, I'll put higher tariffs on China. I'll put higher tariffs on China. I keep telling people, when we sit back and we look at this, 90% of this stuff is pretty much comes from corporate greed, people that are electing people to office, people that have big money that are pushing their candidacies to the top. If you could take this money out of politics, we would probably have a better playing field, and people wouldn't have to, and these corporations wouldn't have going back to these people saying, well, what you gonna do for me? I did this for you. What you gonna do for me? Because like they always say, don't let your left hand know what your right hand doing, right? And the Bible says if the right ain't right, what you do? Cut it off, right? The chosen one.
Mm-hmm. You good? I don't really. Mm-mm.
Now, Walmart says that it is lowering prices on 7,200 items, but of course, it waited until it was profits hit. After their profits hit $15 billion in 2023, it also spent $9 billion on dividends and buybacks, while paying its CEOs $26.9 million, 976 times the typical Walmart employee makes. Walmart can lower that. They can lower that stuff all the way down. If you look overseas, do you ever look at those food shows overseas? Chosen one.
Say that again.
Hey, you ever look at some of those food shows that come on YouTube overseas?
Sometimes.
So when you look at it, don't you see that those people over there, they eating great?
Oh yeah.
They have an abundance of food.
Yeah.
And it's cheap. They spend like $5-6 for like a meal that's gonna feed like 9 or 10 people.
That's true.
But over here in America, you go to McDonald's, you're spending like $40. And you only bought 3 things. Like the other day, I went into the store. I went into Walgreens. I went and bought 4 items. I bought a candle and I bought some cleaning supplies, Clorox bleach, and all the other stuff. You know, the little basic necessities, what every American has to do to make sure that they keep about the upkeep of their home. I went in there. I bought 4 items. I can tell you what I got. I got 1 candle. I got some bleach spray. I bought some rubbing alcohol, and I bought some glasses wipes. I spent $100 on that. $105. That's ridiculous. At the dollar store, if I would have went there, I would have probably paid $80 for it. Is that a deal? Nah, I'm a hush. Peace pipe. But hey, at the end of the day, what we're going to do is we're going to continue to keep our mindset on what we need to do as a community going forward. Just remember that Trump asked oil executives at Mar-a-Lago for $1 billion to his campaign. In return, Trump pledged to reverse environmental protections and cut their taxes. The deal would net big oil $110 billion in tax breaks at 11,000%, more than $1 billion in donations. That is corruption at its finest. But he is an innocent man.
Make it make sense.
The sense has been made. Now, closing thoughts. I'll start first. Kamala Harris, I think her and Tim Walz, they did what was expected. We knew they weren't going to go into full on detail. She didn't crash and tank like they wanted to, like the pundits have been slicing and dicing her all 2 months, month and a half, since she's extended to the position of running for the highest office in the land. They talked about policy, but they haven't really. They went into detail, but She said she's going to be giving this. She gave a speech today, and we're going to do a breakout video on that tomorrow. That'll be coming up tomorrow afternoon sometime. Also, I'll also be out in Tampa and Sarasota. Market calendars. We will be out. Men for Better Futures will be out. We'll be beating the pavement, and we're going to be coming out. We're going to be talking to people. We're going to be talking to you guys. Hey, we're not going to ask you no questions. We're not going to be trying to force you on who you need to vote for. We're just going to be asking you simple questions. How is life treating you right now in this economy? How is it working? Who's the beneficiary of this economy? Who's making the money? Because I ain't trying to we ain't trying to get into no debate back and forth. But the only thing I can say is that, like Trump said, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Yes, because people weren't dying every day from COVID. People were able to people were losing jobs left and right and center. So all I gotta say is I'm gonna say what Brother Bill Clinton said at the DNC, and I'm gonna end it at this: 50 million to 1. Democrats have since the Civil War, Democrats have created 50 million jobs to Republicans 1 million. They left them in the dust by 49 million. So therefore, if you're saying that, Democrats don't do nothing but raise taxes, yeah, they're raising taxes on individuals that are going to be able to cut taxes, giving us a real true middle class tax cut. This is the first time we ever heard a politician run on this type of platform. A middle class tax cut would do wonders for me and you and everybody else, even the working poor. Because that's what the middle class is now, the working poor. Because we are poor here in this country. And I'm going to say it like the chosen one said, I ain't the one to gossip. You ain't heard of you. Go ahead and do your close out.
Well, I just want to say to all the individuals out there that's listening, we thank you for continuously tuning in, and to every person that feel like they got the weight of the world on their shoulder. In spite of contrary belief, I just stopped by to tell you that you can be on the good side of a bad situation. I'm out.
And thank y'all again. And we look forward to talking to y'all again. And we'll be uploading some shorts. We got one short that's like doing some bonker numbers right now. And we look forward to hearing from you guys this weekend. We'll be out beating the pavement. So y'all just look forward to it. I look forward to talking with some of you guys, and I look forward to interacting and seeing how you guys feel. Because this is about you. At the end of the day, this doesn't have anything to do with us. I know that we spend a lot of time on politics, but right now this is the news of the day because of the stuff that's coming out of one camp's mouth and the other camp's mouth. It's so much stuff that's being thrown around, and we're going to be the ones that's going to do all the digging. So if it's something that we've said or stated here on this show, correct us. Drop a link. Let us know what we said or whatever, and we'll come back and we'll be able to answer that to you to the best of our ability to make sure that we are citing facts and context. So I want to thank you guys again for tuning in tonight on YouTube and in Twitch and also on Facebook. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and we will talk to you on Saturday.
Hey, remember, opinions are like doorknobs. Everybody get a turn to have one.
And he just turned this doorknob. So therefore, we are out. Thank y'all for this hour and 40 minutes and 2 fingers. Peace.